So thank you so much for having me here today. You are just an amazing group. I love what I do and I can't wait to get to it. All right, so stress. Let's just get right to it because we all have it, right? How many people have it? Just raise your hand and I'll ask you, we're going to go back from, we have some PowerPoint stuff, but then we're going to go back to gallery. And I'm so used to doing live events. So for me, when I see all of your faces, I just imagine you're out in the audience. And, if I'm asking a question, please, participate, engage, raise your hand, like this, like the old school way. I could see that. We could all see that. And we're going to just get going. So let me start by asking a question. How would reducing stress or eliminating some stress affect you personally and affect your business? So I guess you could all unmute yourselves and then we'll just, raise your hand when you want to call it out. So how would it positively affect your business and your personal life if you were able to reduce stress or eliminate some, which is what our goal is today. Yes, Jen.
Well, certainly our quality of work would increase.
Right? More productive when you have a lot on your mind and you're sitting there in your office and you're trying to focus on work, but you're thinking about all these other things that are stressing you out. It doesn't you don't have that clarity and that focus. So that's a great point. Anybody else? How would it make things better? Yes, Elizabeth.
I think my coworkers would probably be happier too if I was feeling my stress.
That is a great point. Yes. Like how many times do we sometimes walk in a room and even as a parent, I have 3 kids and if you're stressed and then other people feel it, right? So especially if you're in an office and you walk in, I always believe you're in charge of the energy you bring into the room, right? So if you bring in stressful energy, that's going to kind of go through everybody. But if you bring in some positive energy, that's going to go through everybody too. So the energy you bring in the room, that's always your choice, right? What you want to bring there, but it affects people. And so if you're stressed out, it kind of, will go through the office and that energy gets to other people. So what we want to be able to do is be strong enough in our mindset where, even if somebody was stressed and came in, we would be able to kind of turn it around, maybe offer a different perspective, right? All the stress, think about it, is happening between 6 inches between this ear and this ear, right? Your life is happening here. So if we get this focused and we take care of this, it's just going to make things better. All right, so we're going to go to one of our first slides. There's a couple of quotes that I just love, and quotes give you different perspective. And when you have a different perspective, things are able to shift. So I'm going to do the first one. So if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're at peace, you're living in the present. I love that. Think about it, right? When you're not feeling good or if you're feeling depressed, you're thinking about, I should have said this differently. I should have done this differently. What about this? And this happened in my life and that wasn't supposed to happen. And you're living in that past, but that's done, right? That's gone. And if you are stressed out and you have that anxiousness, you're worried about the future. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? What, we have COVID going on. What if that happens? Blah, 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 blah. All these things about the future. And that didn't happen yet either, right? So the goal is to bring yourself to the present. And when you're in the present, that's where there's peace. So if I ask you to forget your past, forget your future, and just be with me right here, right now, do you have any problems right at this exact second? No. It's all here and here. But in this exact second, you don't have it. So that's the goal, is to always try to come back to the present. That's where all your power is to create the future. All right, next slide. How many people feel like that sometimes? I love that picture with the hair like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a good one.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
And so far, and I love this too, so far you've survived 100% of your worst days. Think about that. All the things that you went through in your life that at that time you thought was just going to take you over, you survived it. Your worst days. So think about the power of that and anything else that comes across your journey, and your path. You've already done it. You already have tools inside of you to get through it. And a lot of times it's about reaccessing that to move yourself forward. So remember that. You survived all those days. All right, next slide. So now what I wanted to do with this specific seminar is, I could talk in general about stress, but I want to make it personal to you. So I'm going to invite you to think about, we're about to do a small activity. I'm asking you to think about what has been stressing you out. And obviously this year has been ridiculous, crazy, worldwide pandemic. And speaking of the last quote, you survived 100%. We're all going to be safe, knock on wood. You know, we survived this global pandemic. What else can I possibly, you know, what I could take on anything. You went through this period of time. So hopefully we're going to look back, you know, 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years and think about, wow, I went through that time and this happened to my business and health and all these different changes and technology but I got through it. So this is going to make you, even though it may not feel like it right now and you just feel like the whole world, this is going to make you so strong that you don't even know how strong it's going to make you get. You'll find out a couple of years in the future. But all right, so let's go to the next slide. And here is where I'm going to play a song and you're going to write down everything stressing you out right now. Everything in your business, thoughts that are stressing you out, situations, people stressing you out, anything that's on your mind, we're going to put onto this paper and you're going to just list it. It could be something from my desk is a mess and it's stressing me out to, you know, my business is down to 0. That's stressing me out. Financially, things are whatever it is. This person is stressing me out. These thoughts are stressing me out. So whatever it is, this is going to be your opportunity to write it down because you're going to work off of this morning. So I just ask that you be honest with yourself. There's no judgments in this room. We've all been through things. So we haven't walked in each other's shoes. So we're going to be supportive in that. All right. So we're going to play the song. Everybody got a pen and paper? A little old school. If you have a computer, you could type. All right. Ready? So you have the whole song to write down everything. Don't leave anything out. And I just ask that for this to work, you have to be really honest. Ready? Go. All right, good job. We're going to go back to gallery view for a second. All right, does everybody have at least one thing that they wrote down on the paper? Yes, raise your hand. Yes. Okay. All right. So you can unmute yourself. I'm just going to ask a question and ask for some feedback. So you're going to work off this list. So we're putting it aside for just a second. So stress is caused by you wanting to control things. Okay. If everybody acted how we wanted and every situation turned out how we wanted, we would have no stress, right? But unfortunately, there are some things that we can control and some things that we can't control. So what I want to ask you as a group are what are some things in general that we can't control? You can unmute yourself, raise your hand, call it out. What are some things in life we can't control? Like, for example, we can't control others, right? Okay, we can't control others, even though we would like to. We can't control others. What else? Mark?
A busted pipe, which is what I'm dealing with today.
Right. It happened, right? There's nothing you can do about that. Very good. And there's situations like that that happen to everybody. I remember I was coaching somebody. I was in an office. I came out and the side view mirror was just busted off. Some truck went by and busted it off. And for 1 second, I was mad. And then I'm like, nothing I can do about it. Okay, gotta make some calls, gotta do it. Like, just, I let it go. And you can get into that pattern and it's just a matter of constantly, you know, working on that. But yeah, so anything broken, something happens, Kathleen?
The weather. I still can't get to my mailbox.
Yes, right. So the weather, you're in the snow, so you gotta dig a little tunnel.
Yeah, they, left 4 foot of snow and ice in front of our whole front of our
Okay,
house.
so right now, so the weather and things of that sort, if it's raining, if it's snowing, and again, sometimes it's a shift in perspective. When it snowed really bad last week, it was so beautiful in the neighborhood and the snow. I mean, we took it out of the driveway, but it was beautiful, right? But we can't control the weather. Great. What else? What can't we control?
We can't control what other people think about us or about a situation or a circumstance.
Right. We can't control. We could sometimes influence, but at the end of the day, we can't control what that person does. Right. So, and that's, I think, something that probably all of us, it's like you're constantly, especially in business, dealing with a bunch of different people and like, oh, if they would just do this, or they just complete that, or they just would be this way. We can't always control that. So great. Anybody else? How about the fact that we have a pandemic? Can we control that? No, we can't, right? We can't. So let's go to the slide again. So these are some of the things that you talked about, and we're going to bring in the things that I can't control, right? So stress is often caused by you wanting to control the outcome of everything. So these are some of the things that you guys said. what others do, what others think of you, right? The media, we can't control what the media puts out there, right? The market, the weather, organizational work changes, pandemic, right? The closing of businesses, quarantine, schooling, when it's going to be lifted. These are things we cannot control. Okay, so everybody, does everybody agree with that? Raise your hand if you agree. Yes, okay. So now let's focus on, we're gonna go back to gallery. What are some of the things in life that you can control?
Well,
What can we control?
you just said it, your reaction to
Right.
those stressors.
Right, so your reaction to things, that's something that you can control. Good, what else?
I feel like I'm a hotelier. My livelihood is centered around making my clients, guests, and teammates feel comfortable, safe, and welcomed. In these uncertain times, I felt that I have to go the extra mile to
Right.
have a smile on my face, connect with our guests, connect
Yes.
with my colleagues, and put positive energy out there.
Yes, so that's great. So that's something you could control, looking at your business situation, say, well, how can I be better? What other skills can I bring to the table? What kind of energy can I bring? Because you're in
Right.
charge of the energy you bring into the room, like I said before, and that's contagious. So great, thank you. What else can we control? iPhone. Thanks for the thumbs up. I know I can't see you, but iPhone, you had your did you have your thumbs up, or that was a thumbs up, not a hands up? Okay, so next, another person. Unless you want to, who else wants to contribute as far as what are the things you can control?
Your perspective.
Your attitude towards things.
Your attitude towards things and your perspective, right? Your attitude, you could be going through something and saying, this is over, I can't believe this. Or you can say, you know what, this is an opportunity for a new chapter. Or I can't believe this is happening. Or you can say, wow, this is an opportunity for me to be really creative and figure out a solution and use that part of my brain and be that kindergarten kid that's just looking for possibilities and swing on the swing and get creative, and this is an opportunity for me to do this, or this is an opportunity for me to care about others and reach out to others. So that's your shift, and all that is so important. And the meaning you give to things, anything can happen, even in your past, right? You can go through something really hard, really horrible at that time. It's not to say it didn't happen, but you decide what meaning you're going to give to it. And you could create a meaning that serves you, right? So for example, let's see, like my father passed away when I was 25 years ago. Can't do anything about that, right? So that's when you lose somebody, that's always hard. But I look back and I'm like, wow, when he passed away, that like opened me up so spiritually, and I just I connect so much more to people and have an understanding. Like if I see something good in somebody, I just tell them, because you never know when people are going to be here or not, so there's all these like great lessons I've learned from that. There's a speaker out there that's got no arms and no legs, and he says it's the best gift ever, right? So imagine that. Imagine all of us, God forbid, no arms, no legs, and saying this is the best gift ever. And he's living a full life, inspiring people, has a family. So no matter how hard the circumstances, there's always a way out. There's always some kind of perspective that you can gain on that. So, one of the things when I do, like I had a retreat on this, like a half day thing, is think about your past and situations that have happened, right? And then how can you create a meaning to that will serve you? How did you grow from that? What did you learn? What did it mean that this happened? And make it something that will serve your soul. Your habits, right? Your rituals, you can control that. So when you get up in the morning, you can control what you do. You can control if you hit the snooze bar 500 times, right? You can control, maybe some people are like, no, I can't. But there's a lot that you can control in the morning, right? So how are you going to start your day off? How are you going to end your day? So that you have all this stuff in the middle, right? So like in the morning, I always have this meditation that I do. And I focus on what are the things I want to happen, and then what does it feel like as if it was already done. And I start my day with this elevated emotion. And at the end of the day, I reflect back on what am I grateful for, what happened during the day, what situations happened. Like tonight, I'll say, I'm so grateful that I was able to serve this community at Miller Institute. That would be one of my gratitude things. So whatever it is for you, exercising, hydrating, all these different things, journaling, reading a book, whatever it is, that's something that you could control. How about your level of preparation? Go ahead, Kathleen.
What you eat.
Yes, you actually control what goes in the mouth, right? It's
Yeah.
even though you may think you can't, you control that, right? And a lot of times we have like this short-term gratification and we lose sight of our long-term goal. Well, I'll just eat this right now. I'm fine. I'll just eat it. But it's not in alignment with what you ultimately want to do. But you can control that. Okay. And what about the pandemic? What are things that we can control in the pandemic?
Our own actions.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to go into a group of 50 people, or we're going to say, no, we're not attending that event?
Right. So you can make your own decisions. You could wear the mask, you know, wash your hands, all the things that they say. So there are certain things that we can control. Say that again, iPhone? Did you say something? No? Okay. Who said, did somebody say something? I don't want to miss it. I'll tell you, last year, when the pandemic hit, of course, you know, everybody's like, oh my God, am I going to get it? Am I going to get it? And I was so stressed out in the beginning when this all happened, like everybody else. And then I said, wait, stop. What if I don't get it? What if I don't get it? And then what about all these days I wasted being stressed out and worried, and what that probably would do to my body physically? And I let a lot of it go. I'm not saying 100%, but it made me feel a lot better the whole year. Ironically, at the end of the year, during the holidays, I did get it, and thank God I'm okay. But I look back and I say, wow, if I was stressed out the whole year about it, like what would that have done? You know, and so think about it for yourself. Like, what if you don't get it? How is being so stressed every day affecting you? And then, well, you never got it, right? That you're worried about the future, like we talked about before. Okay, so let's go back to the slide.
Donna,
Yes.
Keith made an interesting comment in the chat that I just want to share.
Yes.
That he that there are things that we can control it, but he said, I can control and want those things, but I get stressed trying to keep up with those things.
Right. So it's kind of looking at, well, why, first of all, why am I getting stressed? Is it be very specific? Is it because I am tired, or because I'm trying to fit it into my day? Is it scheduling? What is it? And then,
So I'm sorry, when you were talking before about working out, doing meditation, doing things like that, you know, these are all things that I want to do, and I guess I can control them. It's just that fitting them into my day, making them regular practices. And I don't want to get too far ahead if you're going down that route, but that's some of where a lot of my stress comes from, is that you read all these books and you hear all these gurus and they say, oh, do the morning routines and, you know, get up and do your, meditation. But then I do it, and 3 days later, I got a deadline, or I got this, and the world falls apart when I get back for the week.
your schedule. So you bring up a really good point. So for example, if I know, like today I had a call at 8 o'clock, and I know what my schedule is, and a lot of times your weeks are different. So if I know that I have to meditate, I want to meditate because I love how it feels, I might say, you know what, usually I do 45 minutes. This morning I'm only gonna be able to do 5 because of my schedule, and I won't judge myself for that. You know, I'm doing something, and the other days maybe I can do it a little bit more. You also have to put into why you want to do it. I would focus more on, well, why do you want to work out? Why do you want to do these things? Because if your why is really huge, you're going to make time for it. You're going to want to, you know, you prioritize what you want, really. And yes, we all have busy days. And sometimes, you know, the week, I'll look at my whole week and I'll know I want to do certain things for myself and meditate or read or whatever. I look at my schedule, to be totally practical with you. I look at my schedule. This is a crazy day. You know what? I'm only going to get in 5 minutes, or I usually do it in the morning. I'm going to have to do this at night, or, you know, and just look at it. Be real with yourself. If you want to go to the gym, right, and you're stressed out about it, maybe start out going to the gym on Saturday mornings. And like when you have nothing around, and like just do it, get into it, and then say to yourself, all right, I'm going to do a Saturday morning +1. I'm going to look at my schedule and see what is the day of the week that it looks easier for me. And that's my other day I'm going to go. And just start slow like that. You know, it doesn't have to be all in, like, all right, every morning for 2 hours, I'm doing all these things. It doesn't have to be, but you could start slow depending on your schedule. And if you know why you're doing it and you start to see the benefits of it, you'll want to do it. You'll want to make time for it. Okay. So, all right. So let's go back to the things you can control. So we're going to put that up. So the things you can control, right? We talked about like your attitude, energy, how you respond to things, the meaning you give to things, your habits, your rituals, level of preparation, and the different things in the pandemic. So we talked about what we can't control and what we can control. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is, you know, that list that you made, we're going to go back to that. So you go to next screen. We're going to go back to that list of all the things stressing you out. And I want you to cross off the things you decided as an individual and as a group that you cannot control. All right, so you're going to cross off the things you cannot control. And we're going to play a little bit of a song right now to the group. All right, how many people have at least one thing they crossed off their list? Raise your hand if you have one thing you crossed off your list. Okay, so if you keep stressing out about the things you crossed off, you are now creating your own suffering. Think about that. These are the things you have no control over. They have to be let go. I'm not saying it's easy, but you got to let them go. So I'm going to give you, for an example, pick something that you crossed off that you think may be a challenge to really let go, even though you know you need to let it go. Pick something off the list and then take something in front of you and hold it up. So, you know, maybe your phone or whatever, take something and hold it straight out in front of you and let this thing you're holding represent one of the things you crossed off your list that you feel may be a little bit of a challenge to really let go. So if you hold this thing that you know you need to let go of and it's stressing you out, if you hold this for the next minute, what's going to happen to your arm? You can call it out. You can unmute yourselves.
Get tired.
It's gonna hurt.
You're going to get tired, right?
Yeah.
What if you held on to this thing for a week? What's going to happen to your arm?
Yeah, really tired.
Really tired. What if you held on to this for 6 months like this?
I would definitely spill this coffee.
How about
Yeah,
holding
It would
on?
take the rest of you down.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah,
And how about
yeah.
if you held on to this for 10 years?
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
way.
So
Make it
when
fit.
you're ready, you can put it down because that's always been your choice. Okay, so that's something to think about. And all those things on the list that you crossed off are all those things you have to put down. Not saying it was tough going through it or it's a tough situation, but if it's out of your control, let it go. Now, what is good is, what about all the things you did not cross off the list? What can you tell me about that now? What does that mean? What could you do with those things?
You have more time to.
Can you control those things, Alex, that you didn't cross off?
Yeah.
Right. All the things you did not cross off means those are things you can control, which is the great news. And when we get stressed, sometimes it's because we're paralyzed and we're not doing anything. We're stressed out, we're scared or whatever, but you can control these things. So what you do with the things on the list that you did not cross out is you start thinking about, what are the action steps I need to take? So even if you wrote down one thing next to each one on, you know what, the first step I need to do is research or call this person or whatever it is. And once you start taking action steps on those other things you can control, what are you going to feel? More what?
Better, happier.
Better, happier, empowered, right? And then that's what's gonna let that stress about those things go away. Is you're gonna feel more empowered because you're taking steps forward, you're taking some action. And the only reason you've been stressed is because you really haven't taken those key steps and you're kind of stuck there. And we're gonna go quickly to the next slide. I found this, I love this, and it kind of sums up what we just said. It's from a monk, Gopalatus, his name is. So follow this with me, right? Why you never have to worry in life again. Do you have a problem in life? You ask yourself that question. If the answer is no, then why worry? Do you have a problem in life? If it's yes, then say, can I do something about it? If it's yes, then why worry? Can you do something about it? No, then why worry? Right? Right? And so these practices, just being aware, I hope what I was able to bring to you today is being aware of really looking at what's going on in your life and what are those specific things you really need to let go of. Okay. And there's other things you can do to let go. You can reframe. I have a longer seminar where we go into depth into like letting go in different ways. looking at things differently. But these are the things that are part of your life, and these are the stress that you can let go, and these are the things that are stressing you out that you can actually control. And again, it is about putting ourselves into the future, putting ourselves into the past, and that's what is usually stressing us out. In the moment we have the power, we have the action. So any comments? We're gonna finish. I know it's 9:55, so I know we're supposed to stop at this time. We could go back to the, actually, I want to go to thank you. Yeah, so let me just go to this really quick. So I want to, first of all, thank everybody for participating this morning. One of the things I believe in is, don't just say, I just went to a seminar and take this stuff and like put it on the shelf and go back to your real life. Don't do that. If there was any value created for you this morning, take it into your life and apply it. Use it today and use it tomorrow. And that's how we grow. So I want to thank everybody so much for the opportunity to serve you this morning. I hope that you're a little bit lighter and you have things in perspective a little bit more. And that's it. I want to say thank you to that. I think we had up there, I put it in the, I think it's in the chat. We have different seminars that we do that we're offering for free. And we have something coming up called The Giver. And these are all things that you could kind of go to the site and learn and see if you want to join us. But I really hope I created some value for you this morning. And thank you so much for being present and for your participation. And I hope that you're able to let go of some of the stress.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Donna. That was wonderful. That last slide. I mean, I took a picture of it. And
Everybody
Me too.
does
Me
that,
too.
right?
I
Me
did.
too.
I'm
Isn't that
posting
awesome?
it to the Miller Center Instagram right now because, I mean, talk about summing up what everything that we just said in the past half an hour and worked on.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I found that and I'm like, oh my God, I love it. And yeah, so I'm glad
just
that you
perfect.
can relate to it. Does anybody want to talk real quick about one thing that they got out of today or one shift in perspective? Alex?
I mean, just making the list and then, then going through it a second time saying like, what are the things you can't control? I mean, it's like amazing how many things I crossed off and like how small my list is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and
Yes.
so if I may, perhaps if I apply that now on a regular basis, I'll feel a lot less stressed.
Right. That's terrific. That's one of the things some people say. I did this a few days ago and someone said, I thought I had like 50 things stressing me out. And by putting it on a list, I had 10 things stressing me out. And then I crossed off 5 of them and it's like, I don't have 50, I have 5 things, and I can control those 5 things. And the other things I really gotta just let it go now. Like, why am I causing this suffering for myself? So that's a great point. Anybody else real quick? Yes, Jen?
Holding the thing out was probably one of the most relevant and practical exercises that I've ever seen. I've done a lot of these conversations, de-stressing and what have you. That was probably like one of the most like that was like
I have chills because I actually was thinking about you because I know what you do in your work, and there's trauma there. And so I hope maybe you could, if this works for you, it works, like pass it on. So I'm glad that you experienced it. It's amazing, right? It's crazy. Anybody else?
I think Mark had his hand up before.
Mark, yes,
Yeah,
Mark.
I did, sorry. Well, I had to, sorry, I'm bad with names, but someone described that they had crossed off most of the things. I didn't cross off many off my list, but at the same time, I look at them again and it doesn't seem like I have full control of these things. There's like another person involved on a lot of these things, which isn't very simple, so it's again, sorry, I just wanted to just mention that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's a good point. So what I would do in that case is I would remove that situation and say, okay, this situation with this person, what are the things I can control and not control with this person in this situation? So I would go down now and break it down in each of those areas.
Right, all right.
That's how I'd handle that.
Right, thanks.
Great point.
That's a good tip, Donna. Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And I'm looking, I'm sorry I can't type back to everybody, but I'm like trying to read the comments on the side. And I just want to say thank you so much. And for breakfast, I have all these vitamins and Ezekiel bread with olive oil. That's what I have for breakfast. But I have energy because I have a passion for people. And if I changed anything or I was able to help anybody today, that's why I focus on why I'm doing this. I focus on serving, and it raises my energy. And that's why I have this energy. And I would love for you to just follow or stay connected with me. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. I have all these different events and seminars that we're doing free online right now. So definitely, I invite you to come. So stay connected. And thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank
much, Donna.
you.
Thank you for
And
your
everybody, if you
encouragement.
got the email
Bye-bye.
with the link to this program yesterday, there's also a link to Donna's website, Moving Forward Strategies.
Yes.
Thank you again to Donna for taking time for this program. It was really a great way to start the day. I want to thank Angela and People's Alliance again for continuing to sponsor this program, even through these weird virtual times. And I want to thank all of you for coming today and, taking time for yourself, because this really was seeing this opportunity to maybe take a little bit of your stresses away. So I appreciate you guys being here. I will put my contact information in the chat box again, but please reach out to us if there's anything that we can do. And everybody have a great weekend. I hope you'll be able to get outside into the sunshine a little bit today. And I hope the weekend is as nice as it is today. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Good to see you all.
Thank you. Have a great
Thank
day.
you, guys.
Take care. Be well.
Yeah.